Alright, horror movie, not looking in the wrong place, aren't I? Horror movie number 2 was, well, less of a horror film, but it did have Christopher Lee in it. So 2 Christopher Lee films out of the 30 seems alright. It was The Corpse Bride. Obviously the title and picture probably gave that away. But it was a very enjoyable film. I do like a Tim Burton. Sometimes they can be a bit too Tim Burton-y, like Willy Wonka, but this one was alright. Even Johnny Depp doesn't come off as too Johnny Deppy. And it's a great story of love, betrayal, and death. Kind of almost a classic Romeo and Juliet-esque thing, with a couple twists. We follow the story of Victor. A son of some wealthy fishmongers, and Victor is, engaged to be engaged. He has a wedding arranged by his parents to the wonderful Victoria, and the film starts with a musical piece as the two are introduced for the first time.
According to plan,
our son will be married.
According to plan.
Yeah, and we can see this mundane, grey world of the living. And that's a nice contrast for later when we see the world of the undead. But as we're introduced to Victoria, we learn that her parents were rich aristocrats, but in the last few years have come in hard times, losing all that wealth. So they are marrying off their daughter to the nouveau rich.
How could our family have come to this?
To marry off our daughter to the nouveau riche. They're so common.
So coarse.
Oh, it couldn't be worse.
Couldn't be worse. I'm afraid I disagree. There could be land-rich bankrupt aristocracy without a penny to their name.
And all seemed a little bit sad for our two. Victor and Victoria are not sure on their arranged marriage, but upon meeting, they have a spark, they have a connection, and stuff seems to be going really well.
Perhaps, in view of the circumstances, you could call me Victoria.
Yes, of course.
At their rehearsal wedding, Vic's having a bit of trouble getting his words out. He's stumbling over the lines, struggling with the rig. Things are not going his way.
This candle... This... With this candle.
He seems to have possibly a little bit of cold feet. But Victor seems committed. He has gone out in the woods, the spooky graveyard behind the church, to practice. And he does it perfectly. Which is his undoing, is he places the wedding ring on a gnarled tree branch.
With this candle, I will light your way in darkness. With this ring, I ask you to be mine.
He learns that he has made a terrible mistake, for this is not a gnarled tree branch, it is the hand of the one and only Emily. Helen Bonham Carter raises as an undead bride, tall, towering, and sexy in a very creepy way. Our titular character whisks Victor to the world of undeath, and we can see bright colours and enchanting music as he falls to the world below.
Here, I'll tell you a story, make a skeleton cry of our own deliciously lovely corpse bride.
And a Danny Elfman song introduces us to all of Emily's backstory as a group of groovy skeletons sing along. And we're introduced to her tragic past, her wedding that never was, and her awful, awful murder. And she's so sympathetic, and the stop motion and her looks give such a creepy, sorrowful vibe. I really do like Emily in this, and I think I could have done with more of her and less of the other people.
Family jewels and a satchel of gold. Then next to the graveyard by the old oak tree, on a dark foggy night at 2:45, she was ready to go. Black. Now when she opened her eyes, she was dead as dust.
But As the film continues and Victor having been whisked away, Emily's parents are already looking for a new suitor. They set about creating a new wedding when they come across the villain, Bacchus.
Ah, Lord Bacchus. I trust the room is to your liking.
Very classical Dickensian villain, a wealthy ass, a manipulative aristocrat who has shown up at the very last second as Victor has disappeared. And everybody is losing out at the moment. The corpse bride, obviously, been murdered, not having the best of times. Victoria's about to be wed to someone she doesn't like, and Victor's already wed to someone he wasn't expecting to be. But as Victor and Emily bond, you can see they've got a bit more of a connection going on as they get to know each other a little more. Emily brings back to life Victor's dog, Scraps.
Scraps?
Introduced quite an adorable little puppy made out of bones. And they head back to the surface. Victor, under false pretenses, has told Emily he is going to talk to his parents about the wedding. But no. He goes to speak to Victoria. He tells her what's happened about his unfortunate marriage.
And you should know it's unexpected.
I just wanted to meet... Darling? Who's this?
But as they're discussing, Emily appears behind Victor and brings him back to the world below. And tensions are high. Victoria's about to marry a man she doesn't like, and there is a bit of a falling out between Victor and Emily. But they're still bonding. These two people are actually possibly quite good for each other. They're bonding over their love of music. And things seem to be going somewhat alright until the coach driver of Victor's family appears in the world below. And he informs Victor of what's going on, that his Victoria is already remarrying after, well, not even a day.
Oh, and, Miss Victoria...
Yes, how is she?
Well, she's getting married this evening.
Victor learns this. He decides he may as well commit fully. Emily is pretty good. So they set about a plan to make their marriage official. Victor has to die. He then must return to the world of the living, and as Victor finishes his vows to Emily, he has to drink poison and die so he can be with her forever.
We have to kill him.
What?
Victor would have to give up the life he had forever. He would need to repeat his vows in the land of the living and drink from the wine of ages.
I'll do it.
And the dead of the underworld seem pretty on board. Everybody joins in and helps out as they return to the surface, a swarm of living horrors. And as chaos and panic start to fall throughout the town, people start to realise that in fact these are all loved ones and relatives. And they get very chummy with the living. Lots of hugs and kisses are shared. And even our priest, Christopher Lee, tries to shoo off the hordes of shambling dead. But
Back to the void from whence you came! You shall not enter here! Back! Back!
Keep it down, we're the church.
eventually gets on board. And in all the chaos and panic and confusion, Bacchus reveals that he's only marrying Victoria for her money, but of course she has none. So their wedding starts to fall apart, and Victoria runs to the church to witness Victor's new ceremony.
The poorhouse? You're lying! It isn't true! Tell me that you're lying!
Did things not go according to your plan, Lord Barkis? Well, perhaps in disappointment we are perfectly matched.
And as she enters, you can see proper sadness and dismay on her eyes. And Emily decides to be the bigger person. She stops Victor from consuming the poison and joining her forever. She allows the other two people to be happy at the cost of her own. She lets Victor be free.
I will be your wine.
Victoria.
Barkis breaks into the church and reveals he is planning on kidnapping the lovely Victoria if she won't marry him willingly. And Emily recognizes this man. He was the villain who stood her up and murdered her before.
I'll not leave here empty-handed!
And as such, Victor challenges him to a duel. They have an epic battle. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to go Victor's way. But once again, Emily comes to the rescue. She saves Victor's life, having now helped both Victoria and Victor in almost completely selfless acts. But Barkis doesn't seem too dismayed by his defeat. I imagine he knows the undead cannot harm him if he is still living. And as a, wealthy white Victorian man, he's probably going to come away from this fine. He mocks the lovers and Emily and offers them a toast and drinks the glass of wine left on the table.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Which, unfortunately for him, was the one Victor had poured poison into. So as he falls down dead, the citizens of the underworld decide they're going to teach him a lesson. You don't fuck with one of their own without learning a thing or two. So I think they just re-murder and re-murder and re-murder Barkis forever, because I guess the undead can't die? But that's not entirely true, because as Victor and Victoria embrace in the halls of this church, we see a smile come across Emily's face. It seems she's also happy. She is now free of the torturous past she had. She takes a step into the moonlight and dissolves into a beautiful swarm of butterflies. She herself has freed all three of our main characters, Victor, Victoria, and herself. She has saved them from what horrible punishments await. And she's made the world a better place by the looks of it. So all's well that ends well. And while I don't think it's the most Tim Burton film, I did enjoy it. And the Danny Elfman score and some of the songs were amazing. There's a few of them that I've been singing all day. And what more could you want from a song? So I am a big fan. I would highly recommend The Corpse Bride. And I'd also highly recommend The Wicker Man. I don't know if I put that at the end of the other video, so I'm showing it in now. And if you see me just change clothes, I wonder why. But I hope to catch you in the next one. There's a bunch more Halloween videos to come.